Welcome back. We are into Top Cut for our Premier Challenge. I'm Dennis Geisler. With me
I'm a BU Vatsavai, and we're here for Top Cut. It's gonna be Dominik. Oh my god, I do not know how to pronounce that. Gliatis.
I think that's right.
Okay, and then Giovanni Costa, who is a very regular at these tournaments here.
San Antonio Regionals champion.
Yeah, heck yeah, right? So
Gio with Golden Go, Incineroar, Ogerpon, Wellspring, Fluttermane, Urshifu, Single Strike, and for a Giraffe, Dominik with Ogerpon, Wellspring, Heatran, Fluttermane, Landorus, Therian, Iron Hands, and Cresselia.
Yeah, Cresselia. So I mean, this is very again, Gio's been using this team like he's been using this team since like San Antonio, actually, right? All he really did was just replace the Iron Hands with Incineroar, and it's like the exact same items too. You know, when he has the Assault Vest like he had on Iron Hands, but it's just Incineroar.
And that's it. And
it's a good mon. Yeah,
we've seen that Assault Vest put in work for Gio in his last few weeks.
Yeah, so essentially he just took that slot and just put in the cat instead, and you know, it's been working really well, right? Because I mean, Iron Hands Furgraph is already strong, and Incineroar is arguably stronger, so why not just have a stronger fake Amon?
Absolutely.
Yeah, now Dominik's team, actually, I played it earlier in the tournament. I mean, it's a pretty formidable team. I didn't really see much from the Cresselia and the Heatran, right? But that's just a matchup thing. But Heatran actually does very well into Gio's team, so I want to see how Dominik's gonna utilize that.
Will be the Geo leading Urshifu Incineroar on Dominik's side. Iron Hands Fluttermane, looking like Regulation D over here. Iron Hands, I haven't seen it too much. It will get that reduced attack. It does have the fake out option here if it wants to. This Urshifu Single Strike is Stellar Terra. It's Focus Sash.
And it's Focus Sash, right? So even if Fluttermane does go for like a Dazzling Gleam or something, Gio could get like pretty solid trade in, right? And then Fluttermane. Neither Fluttermane is choice specs, right? So I doubt it survives like a Wicked Blow, I'll be real, unless it Terra Fairies.
Yeah, well, not like that. Yeah, it's gonna switch out anyways.
Yeah, so I don't want to get out of dodge. Get out of dodge here. Ogerpon comes in. A lot better matchup into the Incineroar, but Gio also switches his Incineroar out. Like the balanced player he is, and in comes the Furgraph trying to maybe block out a fake out, and he just goes straight for the Wicked Blow. And crucially, the Iron Hands did not go for a fake out there.
Yeah, nice play there by Dominik.
Yeah, so the awareness of the Furgraph switching in, and Urshifu takes out a really big chunk here. It kind of now depends on the speed of the Ogerpon, right? And Ogerpon, like, sometimes they like to run Adamant, and I think it's Adamant the Urshifu will outspeed. If I remember correctly, Geo should be like max speed, max attack, like Adamant. And if it's a slow Ogerpon, I could probably outspeed. But we'll have to see here, right? It kind of put on a lot of pressure. Withdraws the Iron Hands here.
Yeah. A little surprising. Yeah,
and Heatran, like I said, very good into his team, right? As long as you get the Urshifu out of the way. And honestly, he's pressuring the Urshifu a lot, right? And the Furgraph cannot do much to Heatran here. If you look at its moves, it's just like, well, I believe it's Hyper Voice Psychic, right? Or Psyshock?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Psychic.
so, yeah, Furgraph's like kind of threatened here. And even if it wants to go for like a Terra Fire here, like, again, Heatran is putting on so much pressure, and this Ogerpon is most likely going to outspeed the Urshifu. It comes down to is Urshifu going to sucker, or is Ogerpon going to go for stuff like that, right?
And this is a Chuckaberry Heatran.
Yeah, so even ground moves are not going to do much. And
there are no ground moves on Geo's side, unfortunately. So it's mostly to say that there is not really an item at play for Heatran.
Yeah.
Probably smart to get the Urshifu out of there.
Oh yeah, no, for sure, right? You don't want to deal with any of those mind games. Bring in good old Incineroar, gonna eat some hits, lower the attack of Ogerpon Wellspring, and honestly, this is still a pretty good position for the Heatran.
Damage.
It's still a pretty good position for Heatran too, and goes for the Heat Wave. Does that pick it up? No, it doesn't. But Furgraph takes a good chunk, and the Trick Room goes up. Now, this is a pretty offensive Life Orb Furgraph here, so I think the Ogerpon's going to go down here, but the Heatran definitely going to survive. But the main issue is what does Heatran do in response, right? Because Incineroar is most likely slower than it, so it could catch it with. I believe it does have knockoff, right?
It does have knockoff.
Yeah. So so it could just not. Yeah.
Nice damage.
Yeah. So the knockoff and the Dominik very smartly protecting there, and oh, he just double protects to stall out Trick Room turn.
Yeah,
so,
I think that's about as good of a first turn of Trick Room as you're going to get. You get to stall out the Fake Out, which is nice. Stall out turns of Trick Room. This is fine.
And now it's 3 turns left, right? Because on the turn you use it, if it goes from 5 to 4 for some reason.
Yeah.
Kind of since it's not like a dynamic speed, it goes last, right?
Yeah.
So there's no way you can.
Yeah, it has dynamic speed. The problem is that it's the lowest priority, so it can't. It's not like anything will be changed under those conditions.
Exactly. So now Fergraf is putting on so much pressure. So is the Incineroar. Again, I don't think this Heatran is going to go down here, but it will take a lot of damage if Geo, if I saw him target like a knockoff into that slot. But a very good Pokemon. Oh, and he actually went for Protect, but a very good Pokemon to play into Farigiraf, and honestly a good amount of Geo's team is good old Iron Hands. Iron Hands is very good into Geo's team. I think the only Bond that could really like reliably deal with it is like cycling an Incineroar or like maybe Fluttermane, right? But like, you know, Solvus Iron Hands is a big boy, and it's putting on these two Pokemon, honestly. Like Dominik brought like a really good
collectively. Dominik is a really difficult team to beat for Geo.
Yeah,
and it's requiring a lot of patience and thought from Geo to play around this. I think this is going to be about the best opportunity you're going to get. 2 Psychics into the Iron Hands, keep the Urshifu standing as long as possible.
Oh,
that's
really
a really good play.
Yeah,
it did crit as well. I don't know how meaningful that was, but that is a really, really smart play from Dominik.
Yeah, it was kind of obvious that it was going to go into Urshifu. And Urshifu, and the thing is, Urshifu is one of those, like, Urshifu's always going to kind of go last unless it Sucker Punches because of the Trick Room, right? So, Dominik recognizing that, knowing he could take a Psychic, and just goes for it. I don't think it would have KO'd normally, because I believe the Iron Hands had a few Intimidate, so the crit helped.
This was a fresh Iron Hands at the very least. I don't think it had taken an Intimidate yet. It had come in after Iron Hands.
Oh, I think he cycled it out.
Yeah, after the last time Incineroar had come out. So it was certainly close. As I was talking to Ryan earlier, it's close.
It's close. It's close. It's definitely...
Now it's at -1, but even still, Drain Punch is going to knock out either of these Pokemon that decides to target now.
But the Fake Out is live, so...
Fake Out is live indeed.
Yeah, so, I mean,
but even still, that means that Heatran's threatening. Heatran threatens a KO on at least one, if not... Well, definitely not both of them at the same time, but at least one of these two.
Yeah, and knowing that Geo's going to switch out, he's either going to Fake Out... I actually think Geo might just go for the Parting Shot here. I actually didn't see exactly what he did. Oh, no, he just went for a Fake Out just to get a... proper switch in
I like that, actually.
Yeah, and actually, Drain Punches into the Ogerpon. Very interesting. Maybe he thought the Incin was going to switch out or something.
Or that it was going to be, like, a switch out move.
Yeah. Oh, the Parting Shot, yeah. Well, not Parting Shot, it has U-Turn.
It's U-Turn, yeah.
So,
Trick Room is done now.
Yeah.
So, now the Ogerpon is the fastest thing again.
Yeah, the Ogerpon is the fastest thing, and it's not good news for the Heatran. But this is Geo's only real out into the Heatran. But this Heatran is Terra Grass. Is it?
It is indeed Terra Grass.
Terra
it also
Grass.
has Protect if it wants to.
Yeah, so it's
plenty ways out of this.
Yeah, plenty ways out of this. Terra Grass Heatran is quite good into this team because it does not have an Ogerpon Hearth Flame that it has to deal with, and it still gets that Flash Fire. And again, Geo doesn't have any ground types.
And there's the Terra.
I mean, Geo doesn't have any flying types. Sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this is again Terra Grass Heatran's kind of hard for Geo to deal with, as we said multiple times this cast.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that Geo's team is struggling with in this matchup in particular.
Yeah, but
so we'll see the Ivy Cudgel. This should actually into the Iron Hands. Yeah, not gonna knock it out.
And Heatwave coming out, not doing anything. The defensive Terra, and okay, so Incineroar's down here, but honestly, this Ogerpon, I mean, maybe like a wild charge into the next turn, but I think this Iron Hands actually goes down the next turn. And
I think it does. I think the question is just what can
this Dark Urshifu do? Yeah.
What can anything do against Heatran?
Yeah.
I guess Dark Urshifu is not in a horrible spot against it. Wicked Blow is Wicked Blow. but I think there's still one more Pokemon in the back for Dominik too.
Yeah, I believe it's the Fluttermane.
Should be
right?
the Fluttermane.
Yeah, it's the Fluttermane, and that could just clean up if anything goes wrong, you know. I believe Dominik hasn't burned. No, he burned his Terra.
Yeah, the Terra is up right now, but it's still
even against the Wellspring,
it's
Terra
like that it's really hard to match up against.
In fact, he's actually gonna straight up go into this Fluttermane. I don't know. His own
Ogerpon is still standing. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and a Woodhammer coming out. It's gonna do a lot of damage. I mean,
I think it's fine to lose Ogerpon.
Yeah, it's fine to lose Ogerpon, and I think he's just gonna switch back in Iron Hands just to have the fake out pressure again.
Yeah, and then you have the fake out against whatever's remaining.
Yeah, and
Wicked Blow is Wicked Blow, but Heat Wave should knock out the Urshifu. Yeah, and now you get the fake out and finish it off.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, knowing Geo, he probably just protects here and then goes from there, you know. But yeah,
yeah. I still don't think there's a route out of it because I think even with that, Iron Hands will be able to get out of here.
Yeah,
Iron Hands plus Heatran, one of the two is going to finish off the battle.
Honestly, though, crucially,
Dominik's not even going to show the third or the fourth Pokemon, which is nice.
Crucially, though, if this Ogerpon manages to get enough healing down somehow, Heatran doesn't really have much to hit it with.
Really doesn't.
Like the Flash Cannon isn't going to do much. Neither is the Heat Wave. Earth Power does like a good chunk, but has a special defense boost.
It does.
So like, maybe in some world, like Geo could pull this out.
I think in some world Geo can can force out the fourth Pokemon. I don't think there's a world where Geo wins this battle.
Yeah, I don't think there's a world he wins this, but yeah, no, I think if he didn't have Mons in the back, I think maybe it would have been possible.
Yeah,
but like,
I think the problem is the Ogerpon's also not threatening any damage at all onto the Heatran, and I think Earth Power will do a little bit more than whatever Ogerpon would be able to launch out. I think Earth Power will probably finish this off here.
Yep,
and it does.
Yeah. So game one going to Dominik. I mean, again, it's a very good matchup in the Geo's team, and Dominik played to his win condition really well.
Yeah.
Right. So that's again the most important part, and he made sure he took out the Farigiraf before he Terra Grassed, right? Because he knows that nothing really could deal with the Terra Grass on Geo's team except for that Farigiraf, right? Because he loses the resistance. Hyper Voice just does crap ton of damage, stuff like that. So I mean, very well played by Dominik. Let's see how Geo's gonna actually adapt to this.
Yeah, I think Geo has answers to the Heatran. Urshifu is probably one of the best ones that he has. The problem is just keeping Urshifu and Farigiraf healthy enough. I will also say, I believe it was Geo who set up the Trick Room in that last battle.
Yeah.
And Dominik got way more value out of it.
Yeah, because he actually brought, I think he pretty much brought, he brought his Slowmons, he got a lot of value out of
it was Iron Hands Heatran. That's not a terrible it's not an ideal Trick Room core, but it's not a terrible Trick Room core. All things considered.
Yeah, it's not
for
ideal.
A team that doesn't really bring Trick Room.
Yeah, it does very well into it for sure. And
actually, Cresselia does have Trick Room, so this team does have the ability to Trick Room sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, exactly, right. So it's not like it's out of options, right? But I mean, it's more of a just a mode he could do whenever he feels like he can flip the script on it, right? And actually, it looks like he's going for this Trick Room mode. He's straight up going Cresselia Iron Hands, and that's almost a guaranteed Trick Room in this.
Yeah, we're seeing the Cresselia for the first time today. First time by anybody here. I think it's the only Cresselia we have here today. Levitate, Citrus Berry, Ice Beam, Psychic, Lunar Blessing, Trick Room. Got the opportunity to Trick Room if it wants. Geo's moving quickly.
Oh wow, just straight into the Iron Hands. Special attack drop, not going to matter for Iron Hands. Woodhammer just straight up doubling into the Iron Hands. Does not pick up the KO. This is most likely going to be a heavy slam coming into the to the Fluttermane. And Cresselia is moving last.
Cresselia is moving last.
So Trick Room is also going to go up here, and that is really might not be good for Geo, depending on what he brought in the back.
Yeah, I think the nice thing for Geo is that, yes, you have the Incineroar. Fake Out will finish off the Iron Hands. That is so little HP the Iron Hands has left, so it will finish that off. So you at least can feel good in the fact that you are not losing to the Iron Hands straight up. Like, the Iron Hands isn't going to get a free Drain Punch, get half its HP back, and chill out for the next 20 minutes. You at least get to get the Iron Hands out of the way and hopefully get some damage down onto the Cresselia. No reason not to get some damage down on the Cresselia.
Yeah, and actually it's not super bad for Geo, considering, like, again, he has a fake out live. The Siren Hands is gonna go down. Oh, he just straight up goes for the.
Oh yeah, Incineroar is slower, isn't it?
Oh wow, that's
actually
Iron.
surprising. Yeah,
that's
a fast Iron Hands. for a Trick Room Iron Hands.
Yeah. It's probably like a min speed Incineroar or something, honestly. And,
it might just be. That is
Psychic going into Ogre Pond, doing a pretty good chunk. Ivy Cudgel coming out, and doing also a pretty good chunk there. Again, Geo gets a trade crackback kill. I mean KO, right? And Heatran is coming in, the problematic Pokemon for Geo right now. And honestly, Heatran could just kind of safely Terra Grass here.
Yeah, I think he can Terra Grass here and feel good.
Yeah, the only issue it really needs to.
Not gonna see the Terra just yet.
Not too. Oh, so yeah, I was gonna say the knockoff, but he knocks off the Cresselia instead.
Yeah.
That means Heatran's going for the attack. If he calls this right and Earth Powers into the Incineroar, this is gonna be great.
Hold.
Oh, okay, no, yeah, it's just a Heat Wave. Went for the safe play there.
Yeah.
He's gonna get a decent chunk into the Incineroar.
And I'll say, for all the advantages Dominik has built up, Dominik's down to his last two Pokemon. Yeah. Like, Iron Hands and Cresselia got taken down pretty quick. It's just the Fluttermane and the Heatran right now.
And it's stuck in Trick Room.
Yeah.
And I believe that is a Specs Fluttermane as well. So needs to really be careful here. I mean, Knockoff's still going to do a lot. It all depends on how much this Heat Wave is going to do, right? If this Heat Wave KOs the Ogre then I think Dominik's a good position if it does.
Well, and I think it's also, I think on the other hand, it's a free opportunity for Geo to Terra the
Exactly,
Ogre
yeah.
And at that point, I think if you're Dominik, you have to see, you have to really start limit testing this Earth Power because it KO'd at about half of this amount of HP. Does it KO at this amount of HP? I don't know, probably not, but we'll find out.
Yeah, so crucially, I believe Geo does have the Dark Shifu in the back, right?
Yeah.
So that will deal with the Heat. That's his best way to deal with the Heatran. And I believe Dominik is just going for. Oh no, that's a Terra on Geo's end. Just getting as much special defense as possible, making sure the Heat Wave doesn't do as much.
Exactly.
If he does go for it.
There it is, 63 HP. We saw it KO from 35 HP earlier.
The knockoff onto the Fluttermane. Oh, doing so much damage.
Means I can switch moves now. I don't know how important that is. Oh, Heat Wave again.
Yeah, going for the safe plays here, and Ivy Cudgel just going right into the Heatran. Oh no, he's going into the Fluttermane here.
I think that's a reasonable enough choice, even if the Heatran. I don't see how the Heatran bails itself out of this one.
Yeah, even if it does like Terra Grass, right?
Like it's gonna eat a nasty knockoff. It's going to take a little bit more damage with.
And he's spiky shielding too, so you might need to call this actually. See how much that does to the. Oh no, just goes for the protect. Interesting. I mean, Trick Room is up, so Trick Room is over. So.
Yeah, I think at the very least it means you won't get knockoff. But then you're just forcing out the last Pokemon, which is Urshifu, which could definitely be able to wreck this thing.
And then this Ogre Pond's faster. Yep. And yeah, now he's spending the Terra.
I was gonna say you kind of have to Terra now. I think the only possible out is making sure that Ogre Pond does not one-shot you right now. And it's nice at least to get the base level of information that it's the Urshifu in the back.
Yeah, he still technically does not know that.
Yeah.
It's
not very meaningful information, but.
So actually, that's just a good amount of damage.
That is a shocking amount of damage.
Yeah, and Earth Power might not even take out the Incin.
Ooh,
yeah, Assault Vest, big boy there. And that knockoff is doing so much. Chocoberry gone. Honestly, virtually useless item in this matchup.
Yeah, it is not virtually useless. It is useless. It's actually less than useless because
it's probably a detriment. Yeah,
it is literally only a detriment because it means that knockoff does more damage. That is the only thing it does.
And unfortunate, right? I mean, again, there are a lot of ground types in the format, so like it makes sense. especially like Lando Eye, right?
Yeah.
And Glamora with the Earth Power and stuff like that.
No, there's plenty of use for it format-wide. Just this matchup is just terrible for that item.
It's weird because it's like it's both good and like not very good in this matchup. You know what I mean? Like, you know, just eating. It's just like knockoff fodder, but like the Pokemon itself is really strong.
Yeah, if Heatran was like leftovers instead, it'd be like feeling great. It'd be having a happy time.
Yeah, so Gio actually played to his outs really well in that. He just went straight for the Iron Hands, knowing that's a problem for his team.
Yeah.
And, you know, he capitalized on it really well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Dominik correctly identified what was the big threat and what needed to be handled immediately. But also, it meant that Iron Hands was basically dealt with in turn 1, and that was the key Trick Room threat. That was the key danger element.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, it looked like a good trade at first, right? You know, where it's like, oh, you know, he just takes the Flutter Mane out. But then at the same time, you know, Incineroar just comes in and guaranteed fake out under, like, under Trick Room. It doesn't really matter, and it's just like...
And as nice as Heatran is with the Terra Grass, it cannot take 2 Wicked Blows. It can maybe take 3 or 4 Wellspring, like Terra Wellspring Ivy Cudgels.
It actually did like a lot, even though
it did more than I thought it would. And I think that's mostly like all the bonuses that Wellspring has, but also like it's just a good offensive Pokemon. You can't stop a good offensive Pokemon
even when it builds bulky
for that long.
Even when it builds bulky, right? Like and like, a lot of the Wellsprings are bulky, so it's just like, oh well. But yeah, going into game 3 here, at this point we both know, you know, Dominik's and Gio's outs to each other's teams, and actually just going straight for the it's actually very interesting here. Iron Hands puts on a lot of pressure on both of these mons just instantly. Maybe thinking Dominik would have it in the back, so Gio just led with this. But to be fair though, I don't think he could do too much to the Heatran either. Although it is very interesting that Heatran is kind of pinned in a way, right? Because if it Terra Grasses, it gets hit by a Moonblast, and then if
otherwise
it
gets close combated.
So he does set up actually an interesting pin here. Maybe like just maybe Iron Hands could like get a good like return KO trade, right? But him the thing is Dominik needs both Iron Hands and Heatran. You know what I mean, right? So yeah, he's switching it out, knowing that the pin is coming. And honestly, like if this Iron Hands doesn't Terra, it's looking a little not too good for Dominik with Geo doubles, but he protects with the Flutter Mane.
I believe that what we saw was the double protect from Geo. I like that. Solid the fake out turn.
That's the classic Geo move.
It's going to be a heavy slam into the Flutter Mane if it matters, but even still, like Iron Hands will destroy either of these targets if it gets a solid hit down.
But that was actually really good by Dominik, right? He there was a threat, but Gio just ended up going for the double protect, right? But now he actually gets in Landorus, which honestly is like pretty poised to do some like good damage, you know.
It's nice, but you got to remember this Flutter Mane is booster speed.
So
it will have the opportunity to Icy Wind for a lot of damage. I don't think it KOs. I was gonna say, I really hope it doesn't KO, but it drops the speed down to a normal Pokemon speed.
And that's what Dark Shifu, goes for the Wicked Blow. And now I'm guessing it's a heavy slam coming out of the Flutter Mane. And actually, that's actually really good, right? Oh no, he actually goes for the Drain Punch. Oh no. That's quite unfortunate, right? Because if that was a heavy slam into Flutter, he would have. Heatran would have been in a really good spot if it came in right after. But I mean, maybe he was thinking, you know, Flutter Mane would switch out.
Well, and I don't think it was a terrible. Well, it wouldn't have knocked out anyways. It's about as good as you could have hoped for. So yeah, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, but although his Flutter Mane comes out here, Dominik's, and I wouldn't say it's in like the best position. It could still get like, you know, Sucker Punch.
Basically, the same thing can happen to it again. Icy Wind into Wicked Blow with the dynamic speed.
Exactly.
I don't necessarily. I don't know what the better option for Dominik is. I think Dominik is in a really bad spot right now, but I feel like that's the most likely outcome of what happens to this Flutter Mane. especially with choice specs. Can't do anything about it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just a free sucker punch, right? So it kind of just has to Terra here if it wants any semblance of surviving, right?
Yeah.
And even then, like, a Moonblast could probably just pick it up, right? So, I mean, yeah, I mean,
we'll see the
Ball.
Terastal.
Yeah. We do see the Terra here. Going into the Fluttermane, and let's see if it can live. I mean, Fluttermanes are built pretty bulky now, like, pretty bulky as the meta's developed. So, you know, I could see a world where it survives it, but it will be hard. Actually, just goes straight for the Protect. Actually, really interesting. Probably predicting a heavy slam for the trade. Oh no, he just goes for the double Protect, seeing what it wants to lock into.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah, that's nice to get that read.
So locked into Gleam, and now Geo can appropriately assess the situation, right? Yeah, heavy slam going into the Fluttermane. Good call.
I think at this point it's not a bad idea to double into the Iron Hands.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Since the only thing that can really knock out your Fluttermane at this point is like the heavy slam.
Yeah.
Get rid of that first. See if the Terra Moonblast does it. I'm curious up into the Assault Vest.
Switch out Urshifu, feeling the Dazzling Gleam. Maybe he doesn't want to go to Icy Wind in this situation, right? Because you know, it's a booster speed, but you know, the attack drop really helps the Iron Hands. I mean, he could always cycle that out, right? Because it's a you have Heat Train in the back, so that's fine. But I think, you know, with this Terra Fairy, I'm guessing it's just gonna be a Moonblast going into the Iron Hand slot here. So
we'll see how much this does. I'm worried that it won't KO.
I think we've seen it not KO like before as well. Yeah.
Now the problem is the return damage is going to be pretty heavy.
Yeah, pretty heavy here. Specs Terra Fairy doesn't quite get the knockout on either of them. The Wild Charge coming in, he's actually playing it safe there, which is really nice. And I don't think the Wild Charge recoil actually gets it there. Yeah. So honestly, I mean, good play by Dominik here. And
yeah, no, that was a decent out by Dominik. And now the Fluttermane is actually the fastest thing. And we'll be able to just keep launching out those Dazzling Gleams.
It is susceptible to this next fake out though, as is both Mons. So Geo has to make a decision here, and I think the decision is pretty easy. Just fake out the Fluttermane, get the KO onto the Iron Hands.
Yeah.
And unfortunately though, Heatran is not a Terra, does not have Terra Grass available, so it's actually going to be quite hard. Oh, actually, okay, he's positioning the Fluttermane. It's okay for him. It's gonna be okay that the Heatran gets faked out here. And,
I mean, it's fine for the, well, not great, but fine for the Heatran to sit around here right now.
So this Iron Hand goes down.
I think it mostly just means that you're able to change Fluttermane's moves if you want.
Yeah, and then the fake out's not gonna be live anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
it's still rough for Dominik to get out of this, but I'm like kind of trying to piece the pieces together.
Yeah. And it's very interesting, right? Because it's kind of a free Moonblast, maybe a free Moonblast into the Instant slot, right? But at the same time, it's like, no, is the Ogerpon Wellspring just gonna go for the Heatran, right?
Yeah.
Heatran can protect here as well, right? But there's a lot of options on both sides. But he's just gonna cycle out the Incineroar, like save the fake out for later. Good call on his end. And Urshifu coming in. And let's see if he locks into the Dazzling Gleam here.
Yeah, I think the expectation Urshifu should drop here. Yeah. I'd be surprised if it doesn't.
Oh, he Moonblasts.
I don't hate that idea.
And does he go for the Heat Wave here?
Heat should finish off Urshifu if it is.
Oh, he doubles in, expecting a Urshifu switch into that slot maybe.
That's rough.
Yeah. Again, good play by Geo there.
That's a very good play by Geo.
Yeah. And now Woodhammer's threatening Ivy Cudgel / Woodhammer, right? I mean,
yeah, whatever move.
He just goes for the follow me, and he's just gonna go for probably a close combat here. The thing is Fluttermane has locked into Moonblast, so it does not matter.
I don't think Fluttermane's upset to Moonblast Ogerpon. Not that upset.
It's just the Urshifu gets a very nice turn here.
Yeah. Wow, that does actually knock out.
That's a good knockout there, but it depends on how
Dominik might actually get out of this one. Probably not.
Depends on Heatran's not bulky enough. I guess, you know, He really wanted to get that Ogre Pawn out of there, so he did just go for the Min Blast.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard now, right? Because even if I feel like a Wicked Blow Sucker Punch will just take out this Flutter.
Yeah, the problem is that a Fake Out plus a Wicked Blow plus a Sucker Punch will almost certainly be enough, even two of them resisted and one of them being Fake Out.
And then like even on the next turn, if it gets the KO, it's never KOing both.
Yeah.
So it's just like
yeah, exactly.
You know, Gio looked like a pretty bad matchup for Gio. Like he just brought back, you know.
Yeah, just worked his way through it. And
and the Sucker Punch is just gonna KO here, most likely. Oh no, he's just going for Wicked Blow. Yeah, and actually, going for the
one of these two
here
is going to get it done.
Yeah, so does it even KO the Incineroar? Yeah,
it definitely does.
But the Wicked Blow just nothing to do there.
Very close series.
Very close series, but Gio got the. Well played by Gio. Looked like a pretty bad matchup. He brought it back. So
yeah, that was a tough matchup. We saw Dominik. We saw what he was able to do in game number 1, and just Gio slowly, balancedly got through all of it. Was able to switch in the Incineroar a proper number of times, and just end up winning the series.
Yeah. So I mean, it's very nice, very nicely played by him again. That Urshifu was his win condition, right? And he played extremely well into it. Both Ogre Pawn and the Urshifu. So, even though there wasn't really anything to hit that he trans super effectively, again, like just Wicked Blow is a very strong move, so doesn't really matter.
With that, we'll step aside for a moment. We'll be back with top 4 semifinals. You don't want to go anywhere. In a bit.